What's up? What's up, Facebook world and Instagram and YouTube and wherever you may be watching this video from. Uh, Thanks so much for tuning in. Listen, today is planning. Today's topic is all about planning. And it's funny because I was thinking this week, about what topic I wanted to bring to you of a value that I thought you would probably really appreciate. I'm sorry I didn't come on live sooner, but it's cool. It's cool. I bought my first house when I was 20 years old. And it's funny because a lot of people think, man, that's super young, right? And I think it was perfect timing. Very important that everybody knows it's perfect timing. I was reading an article, was it earlier this week, late last week, and I'll drop the link here. And I was reading an article I found very interesting where it was talking about millennials and generation, I think it's Generation X or Generation Z and all this good stuff, right? And it's funny because we're going into an era right now where a lot of younger people are looking to buy houses, but they just don't know where to start, right? And regardless of your age, regardless of how old you are, how young you might be, I think it'd be pretty cool for you to know that everybody has to go through the same processes, right? And so I personally went through it. And when I bought my first house when I was 20, okay, hell, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Nobody sat there. There was really no YouTube and, videos that I could watch that can show me and teach me the processes and the steps that I needed to go through. But what I can tell you is that I had a plan. Okay, I knew from the time that I graduated high school, okay, when I was 18 years old and I started my very first job, okay, I knew that the next step in my life, the next milestone in my life that I wanted to take was buy a house. Whether buying a house when I was 20 was actually part of that plan, or whether buying a house when I was 25 was part of that plan, I knew that the next milestone in my life was actually buy a house. But it was really all had to narrow down to having an actual plan, a specific plan that I needed to follow in order to know how to go about it. And so throughout this week, if you guys have been following, the trajectory of these videos and previous videos, I've spoken about budgeting, budget strategies, credit solutions, and what to look out for your credit. And today's topic is really planning, okay, and what the plan is. And everybody has to have a plan. It's Friday, guys. What's your plan for the weekend? Tomorrow, what are you doing? I was just talking to one of my partners here. It's like, hey, man, what do you got going on this weekend? Everybody has a plan, regardless of what it is. At the end of the day, today's topic is planning on buying a house. Everybody has a plan. What's your plan, right? And so I'm going to wait for a couple more people to join in. I want to thank Kangli, Nicole, and Don. Thank you guys for joining in. Thank you guys. Drop a comment below if you have any questions for me, if you have any concerns, if you have any, anything that you want to probably bring to the table. And so, as you know, today's topic, as I mentioned earlier, is how I bought my first house when I was 20. Okay, and how critical it is for anybody in this era right now to consider the value behind purchasing a home. Think about it. You buy a house when you're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. It's a 30-year mortgage, guys. 30 years. And if you lived in your house for 30 years, that means that by the time you're, 50, 52, it's completely paid off. Think about it, guys. By the time you're 35, by the time you're 40, by the time you're 50, having a paid out house, that's awesome. It's unheard of right now in this generation. And so that's why I think it's important for you to consider whether you're a young entrepreneur, whether you are, a mother, a father of younger people, how important it is for you to maybe start instilling the importance of them investing into themselves and purchasing a home. So planning, it's all part of your plan, and being able to take that into consideration is critical. What is your plan? What is your short-term plan? What is your long-term plan? Whether you're looking at maybe buying a house after college, whether you're looking at, maybe saving some more money. Well, how do we budget for that, right? We spoke about budgeting earlier on in the week. It's very important. And so part of my plan was budgeting. You know, I didn't have a crap ton of money to be able to put money down. Nobody helped me. I didn't have gift funds or family contributions. You know, my plan really entailed, you know, my job and making sure I made enough money to be able to buy a house, and then maybe saving some money into my 401k retirement account, so that way when the time came, you know, 2-3 years later, I can at least start digging into that account so that I can use that as a form of down payment. So budgeting was also part of my plan. And as we spoke earlier on in the week, I'm going to be bringing all that together here. If you haven't watched any of my other videos, I'd encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, where there you can find, more of the videos that talk about budgeting, credit solutions, planning, etc. Right? But you know, most important part is, you know, knowing where you're going. Okay, so you know, part of my plan included budgeting. And it's funny, I was talking to somebody this week, and this is something that I've probably practiced throughout my entire life, is think about how much money you can save in 1 year if you would take out a certain amount, a certain dollar amount out of every one of your paychecks. You know, think about if you took out $100 or $200 a check. You know, that's $400 a month. By the end of 10, 12 months, that's almost $5,000 that you could have had saved. You know, buying a house doesn't mean that you got to buy a house tomorrow. Buying a house means you plan and you start thinking about, okay, when is the right time? You know, is 4 months from now the right time? I'm currently renting. My lease is up in 7 months. Is 7 months from now a right time? And if I have to wait 7 months, how much money do I need to save from here to 7 months? And you know, if it's $4,000, $5,000, well, how much can I comfortably take out from every one of my checks? Listen, I pull out this neat tool. Okay, everyone should have one of these, right? And I usually do the math. You know, think about it. If I took out $200 a check, that's $400, right? Oops, sorry, $200 a check, 200 times 2, that's $400 a month, right? And I multiply that by 12 months. A year from now, $400 times 12, guys, a year from now, you could have had saved $4,800 by the end of 12 months. So, you know what? $200 a check is too much money. I can take out, you know, $200 a month. Well, that's half. You know, that's still more money than what you probably have in your savings account today. So budgeting is a very important part of the plan. And if you just put together, you know, a specific dollar amount in your mind, if your loan officer or your mortgage professional told you, listen, you're going to need $6,000. Well, listen, man, how long before I get to my $6,000, you know, goal, right? So at the end of the day, do the math. You know, I can separate, I don't know, $250 a month, right? So 6,000 divided by 250, it's going to take you 2 years to get to that. That's your realistic goal, unless you're able to get maybe mom, dad, brother, sister, somebody to help you out with a gift. But at the end of the day, knowing and having a goal in mind, being able to budget properly so you can go on ahead and work on your plan towards home ownership is probably going to be the most critical part. Okay, so planning was really a huge part of how I was able to buy my very first home when I was 20 years old. And part of that planning was being able to know how much money I needed to budget and set aside to be able to purchase my first home. You know, I've said before, you know, a plan without a purpose is meaningless. You know, you need to have a purpose. What is your purpose behind your plan? I want to buy a house. Okay, well, how soon before I'm going to buy my house, right? And then you take action. You know, I'm going to buy my house in the next 2 years. Okay, well, how am I going to get there? You know, action without purpose is also meaningless, you know? So being able to plan right, plan your budgeting, you know, and don't really focus on credit. A lot of people, they focus on credit first. You know, credit can always be worked on, you know, just like budgeting. I think the most important part is being able to invest back into yourself. Okay, so being able to create equity, being able to create margin, you know, within your current situation. A lot of people, they live on a fixed income. You know, when I was 20, I was living on a fixed income. You know, I was a bank teller making like $9, $10 an hour, and I still bought my first home when I was 20. So don't let yourself believe that, you know, you need to make $15, $16, $20 an hour in order to buy a house. It really depends on the caliber of home. You know, your first home doesn't really have to be a $200,000, $300,000 home. What if your first home was $120,000, $130,000? You know, think smaller so that way you can have a visual of a bigger picture in your mind, so that 10 years down the road you can look back and say, wow, my first investment when I was 20, now I'm 30 and I'm buying my second home. Or, you know, 15 years down the road, hey, listen, time flies like this, man. When I think about how I bought my first house when I was 20, and I look at how old I am now, and I look at the second home that I bought, and I wouldn't have been able to do that when I was 20, but because of the planning and the budgeting and the proper guidance and being able to follow through on, you know, the process of purchasing a home, that helped me ultimately achieve my goal. So I'm going to drop a link here, www.myinnovativemlo.com. Okay, and I'm going to invite you to visit my website. Click on Get Started. Listen, getting pre-qualified is the very first step. You know, if you can at least find out what the process is, what you need to do, get the proper guidance, speak to a professional like myself. If you don't have a professional to speak to right now, click on the link and I will personally reach out to you myself. Click on the Get Started, and what we'll do is we'll do a free pre-qualification. It doesn't cost you anything. I don't have to pull your credit. There's no obligation. You don't need to give me your social security number. It's just a small form, and in the comment box, go on ahead and just put plan, hashtag plans. That this way I can, you know and be able to refer and hone in our conversation to the planning part. You know, tell me what your plan is. What's your 3-month plan? What's your 6-month plan? What's your 2-year plan? How long do you think it's going to take you before you can ultimately purchase your first home? And I'll be more than glad to answer those questions and set up an action plan for you so that we can go on ahead and follow through with it. You know what? It doesn't matter if it took you 2 years. Listen, I'll be with you along those 2 years. It doesn't matter if it takes us, 3 years. I'll be with you along those 3 years. It's about preparing and being able to have the right guidance and the right plan and follow through with that plan. So I've put in the link. Click on the link, myinnovativemlo.com. You can also / get started, or just click on the link above that says get started. And in the comments box, put hashtag plan, give me your name, your number, and I'll go on ahead and reach out to you so that way I can also answer any questions that you have. I'm also going to drop a second link in there. It's going to be the link to our YouTube channel. I highly encourage you to please subscribe to my channel. I've got a lot of people who are now, it's starting to trend, so I've got a lot of people who are now visiting, subscribe to our channel, so that way you can also stay up to speed, up to date with the current, videos and tutorials and vlogs that I'm going to be putting up. Mondays, I'm going to talk about credit. So Credit Mondays, I'll be talking about maybe how to build your credit, how to maximize the equity of your credit, be more equity strong, how credit scores actually work. I'm not a credit repair specialist, but I will talk to you about how you can boost and increase your credit score so that way you can maximize your potential when you're ready to purchase your home, whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, having credit is also very important. So on Mondays, we'll talk about credit. On Wednesdays, we'll talk about budgeting. I usually pull out my handy dandy calculator and we start talking about budgeting. If you haven't watched my budget video from this past Wednesday, I'd recommend you click on the link. And then on our YouTube channel, you're going ahead and click on the budgeting video that I posted this past Wednesday, and I'll be able to talk to you a little bit about budgeting. And then on Fridays, we're talking about planning. And part of the plan, like today's video, talking about how I purchased my first home when I was 20 and how you can plan to be, it doesn't matter how old you are, you can plan on actually starting that process of owning your home. But all of that collectively is how it works, So you don't need a 700 plus credit score to purchase your home. Listen, when I bought my home when I was 20, I probably had like a 614 credit score. Okay, you don't need 20% down to purchase your home. When I bought my house when I was 20, I probably had I actually didn't put any money down because back then they had a program where it was FHA, you put 3.5% down, and then there was a grant, I think it was like down payment assistance I even got to purchase my first home when I was 20, okay? And think about it, I was 20 years old. It wasn't like, with all this money in my bank account. Okay, so those same advantages exist today, you know, where you can get assistance. You know, you can get assistance from the seller to help pay for your closing costs. My seller, when I was 20, helped me pay for my closing costs. So that also helped me come up with less money out of my pocket. You know, you can look into all these different, you know, programs that are available, but it all starts with planning. And that planning part starts with getting the right guidance and working with the right professional like myself. So click on that link, myinnovativemlo.com. I just dropped it, and visit our website. I'll be more than glad to click on get started. In the comments box, put #plan. I'll be more than glad. I will personally reach out to you. And also go ahead and click on the YouTube channel and subscribe, so that way you can get more information around the budget strategies, the credit solutions, and all that good stuff. So I know it is, today is Friday, the Friday before, what is it, Halloween? And I don't know if they're going to celebrate Halloween, like today's the 25th. So how do they do that? Do they celebrate Halloween the Saturday the 26th, or do they actually celebrate? I'm in Florida, so you know, I'm from Boston. I'm a Boston kid, and I know that on Halloween, regardless of the day, we would go trick-or-treating. It could have been Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. We would go trick-or-treating. It doesn't matter if it was a school night. But how do they do it in Florida? Do you guys do Halloween trick-or-treating on the weekend prior to Halloween, especially when Halloween is like literally a week ahead? So a lot of people were telling me, as I was talking to them today, they were like, you know, oh yeah, you know, happy pre-Halloween weekend. And I'm going, well, what's that mean? Are you guys having like a Halloween party on Saturday because Halloween is next Thursday? Or so how do you guys do it here in Florida? Do you guys celebrate Halloween the week before because there isn't really a Halloween Saturday? Or strangely enough, I spoke with someone, my son's karate studio in Maitland, they are going to celebrate their Halloween party November 1st. And I think that's a Friday, the Friday after Halloween. So what do you think about that? What are your thoughts? It's pretty interesting. I like to hear everybody's comments on that. Halloween. Are you planning on celebrating it? See, look at that. Plan. Are you planning on celebrating it tomorrow, or are you planning on celebrating it next weekend, because Halloween technically is until like about a week from now? Again, as I mentioned earlier, being from Boston, it didn't matter. Halloween was on the 31st, and then 31st was on a Thursday, and it was a school night. We would go trick-or-treating that night. Give me a thumbs up if you do that. You're going to go trick-or-treating next Thursday because Halloween is on the 31st. It's not tonight. It's not tomorrow. So if you come trick-or-treating on my door tonight, I'm probably not going to open the door. Or if you come trick-or-treating to my door tomorrow, I'm probably not going to open the door, because Halloween technically is until next week. So it's a funny topic to talk about in the middle of a plan, but that's part of planning, right? Are you planning on trick-or-treating tonight, or are you planning on trick-or-treating next weekend? So when I bought my house when I was 20, it was all about the plan. So having the right plan, being able to have a purposeful plan, being able to speak and work with an action-oriented professional is going to be key. So please feel free to click on the link that shows up below this video, and I'll be more than glad to go over the plan with you and properly guide you. I don't do these videos just to do them, guys. You know, I would have done a video earlier, but I was actually out in a closing. I had the privilege to be able to close a loan for a very good friend of mine, who also bought his very first home in his early, maybe mid-20s. And today we were able to refinance his home. Not only refinance his home, but also help him with consolidating a few debts. So, you know, again, he planned it out right. We worked it out perfectly to his advantage. And today we were able to do that. So it's all about planning. It's all about, you know, knowing and giving yourself a timeline. So please drop a comment below. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a like, share. I'll be more than glad to reach back out to you. If you have any questions for me, you can also instant message me through Facebook, Roberto Irizarry Official, and I'll be more than glad to helping you out with that. But for the time being, you guys enjoy your pre-Halloween weekend, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace out.